So as always, if you need to sit up on something like a blanket or a block, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, just place your hands into your lap and soften your gaze or close your eyes. And when it's cold, we have a tendency to curl into a ball with our bodies and breath. So take a few moments and breathe a little bit deeper, a little bit more fully than you normally would. So inhale, puff up your whole body. And as you exhale, just start to relax and contract in. And do that a couple of times. Inhale, and you can do this to a breath count if you would like. And exhale, soften. And do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale, soften. And you can keep going, breathing deeply and fully, or just breathe normally. And just notice the surging flow of breath in your throat, chest, and belly. Just notice your own internal rhythm, the pace of breath in your body. And soften the space between your eyebrows, your cheekbones, and your jaw. And so wherever you are, just take your hands and place them into your lap with the palms facing up, your finger pads touching, and your elbows slightly bent. So let's do a little bit of breath tracking. So as you inhale, we've all done this before. Just allow your palms to rise up, your belly, and maybe your chest. And the moment you're done with your inhale, flip your palms down, and exhale, press your palms down into your lap. So you're gonna do this on your own. Inhale, letting your hands rise up the front line of your body. And then exhale, flip your palms to face down. So I'd like you to maybe close your eyes as you do this so that you don't feel any pressure to go to the extent that I'm going. You're tracking your own breath. So if your breath feels a little bit shallow, your hands might hover right in front of your navel. If your breath is more expansive, your hands may rise up a little bit higher towards right in front of your heart space. But there's no pressure. You're tracking your own breath in your body. Let's do this for about 3 more rounds of breath. And you may notice that the more that we do this breath tracking, your hands are lifting up a little bit higher. the completion of your third round, just let your hands fall into your lap and then bow your head forward. And so from here, keep your eyes soft and bring your chin towards the notch in between your collarbones. And then start to press the back of your head back and your chin down, almost like you were creating this double chin feeling. And then slowly start to trace your chest with your chin to the right and left, and continue to sit up tall. Breathe into the back of your neck. And then pause the next time your chin is in between your collarbones. And then lift your gaze, blink open your eyes. Okay. And so you're gonna take your heels and swivel them to your left, and I'll mirror you here. So you're gonna come up into this deer-like position with your legs, almost like your legs were a zigzag, and place the bottom of your right foot against the top of your left thigh, and face forward to start. And like a crab claw, take your left hand and place it along your left hip, and then encourage your hip down slightly so you can anchor your hip. You can even lean slightly over to the left. Right palm against the inside of your right thigh. You'll feel this all along the outside of your hips. You can keep your left hand on your hip or start to extend it out to the left, taking a slight side bend. Don't force anything. You'll start to notice the outside of your right hip awaken. Okay, and press yourself up and still gaze forward. So you're facing your right shin, and then walk your hands forward. We're gonna do this deer shape in, I call, 3 ways. So press the bottom of your right foot into the top of your left thigh and stretch your fingers forward. And then you can soften your palms and forearms down. And then maybe your chest or rib cage can rest against your right shin. And start to walk your hands towards you and roll up. Okay, so now you're going to turn your torso to face your right knee and just make sure you have enough space in front of you. So we're not going into the full expression quite yet. So you're facing your right knee, start to tip forward and then walk your hands forward so that your belly can rest against the inside of your right thigh. Stretch forward until you notice your sitting bones lifting up and then anchor them back down. Soften your forearms and elbows down. And in this moment, you might be able to fully just let your chest and belly rest. And make sure that your right foot still makes contact with the top of your left thigh. Walk your hands towards you and roll up. And now just keep going, keep twisting over to the right. So this is the more traditional expression of deer. Keep pressing the bottom of your right foot into the top of your left thigh, and then twist from your low belly. And sit up tall here and gaze behind you. So we're gonna stay upright for the moment. And of course, you can stay upright for about 3 more rounds of breath, or gaze kind of forward slightly and then walk your hands away from you. So you're almost walking your hands away from your legs, and then soften your forearms and elbows down. So keep twisting from your low belly and rotating your torso to face the earth. Come up onto your finger pads and roll your spine up and then turn your torso forward. So you're going to keep your right knee bent, scoop underneath your left knee, and then push out through the heel so the leg straightens. And then place your right foot into the inside of your left thigh, and then face forward in between your legs. Take your left hand and just start to trace down your left leg till your shin, or maybe your hand wraps around your ankle. Rotate your torso to the right, and then sweep your right arm up and overhead. And as opposed to collapsing into this shape, see if you can grab a hold of your ankle or shin, and then press your finger pads up, and then gaze underneath your upper arm. Beautiful. Take one more round of breath, just like this. And then wave your right arm down. Okay, so from here, I'll face this way just so that you can see. You're gonna take your left hand in front of you, your right hand behind you, and then you're gonna press into your hands to lift your hips up. We're gonna come into this wild thing type shape. So it's gonna require you swivel your left or your right heel behind you, and you can watch me for this first round. Lift up your hips slightly, and then notice my right heel is gonna come away from me slightly, and I'll sweep my left arm up and overhead. And I like to anchor my left heel into the earth. So let's try it. Okay. So inhale, press into your finger pads, swivel your right heel behind you. Inhale, raise your hips and pelvis up. Just pause and breathe here. Anchor your finger pads down. Okay, and then slowly lower. Make sure that you swivel your heel forward, and then come back into a cross-legged position. Okay, so now heels over to your right, come into a deer shape on the left. Bottom of your left foot along the top of your right thigh. And then if this helps, you can do this crab claw by anchoring your right hip down slightly. You can lean over to the right or stretch your fingertips out. This is a slight side bend. Don't force anything. Okay, and then come up, fingertips in front of your left shin, and then walk your hands forward. And again, as always, stretch your fingertips as forward as you can without lifting your sitting bones. And at that moment, you can soften your palms and forearms down. And start to tuck your chin in towards your chest and pour your weight forward. Walk your hands towards you. And then start to rotate towards your left knee so that your belly and thigh are sort of in line. And then once again, walk your hands forward. Keep pressing the bottom of your left foot against the top of your right thigh. Maybe you can rest your belly against your thigh and soften into this shape. Walk your hands towards you. Ground down into your sitting bones, and then keep going. Keep twisting over to your left. Stay on your finger pads, and then gaze behind you. Twist from your low belly, and use the leverage of the bottom of your left foot pressing into your thigh to twist. And please know you can always stay just like this, or if you like, for 3 rounds of breath, walk your hands away from you, and then come down. And slowly walk your hands towards you. And as you rotate your torso forward, scoop underneath your right knee. And as you pick up your knee, push out through the right heel. So your leg straightens. Adjust your feet and then slide your right hand down towards your shin or ankle. Rotate your torso to the left and then inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead. And again, same thing here. As opposed to collapsing, stretch out through the fingertips and then rotate. Gaze underneath your upper arm. Okay. And then sweep your arm down. And we're gonna do that same wild thing type shape by placing your right hand in front of you, left hand behind you, and stay anchored on your finger pads. As you inhale, press into your finger pads, lift your hips and pelvis, and swivel your left heel behind you slightly so you've got leverage to raise your right arm up and gaze up. And just breathe here. Anchor your right heel down and flare all 5 of your left toes. Slowly lower down. Okay, and come back into a cross-legged position. Actually, let's swivel our heels behind us. Roll over to your hands and knees, but bring your knees wide and your big toes touching. Sit back onto your heels and walk your hands forward. Okay. Keep your arms active, spread through all 10 of your fingers and gaze in between your thumbs. As you inhale, press into your palms and shift your weight forward. And as you sink your hips and pelvis down, perhaps pick up your toes and gaze forward. And then exhale, lower your toes, hips back towards your heels, but gaze forward. So do 2 more like this on your own. Inhale, like a horizontal shift forward, and then scooping down and lifting your toes up. And then exhale, lower. 1 more. And this time, as you exhale, pause. You can squish your heels and glutes towards one another. And now you can soften into this more traditional child's pose. I'd like you to emphasize or prioritize bringing the hips towards the heels. So if that means coming onto your forearms, please do so. And breathe into your lower back. We'll be here for about 3 more rounds of breath. And then press into your palms and glide your hips forward. Adjust the distance of your knees so they're about hips width distance apart, and walk your hands under your shoulders. And tuck your toes. We'll just move through 3 rounds of a traditional cat-cow. As you inhale, tip your sitting bones up, soften your belly, and pull your heart forward. Exhale, lift your upper back up, round your spine, and curl in. And do 2 more like that on your own. And 1 more. On your next inhale, come into a neutral tabletop. Bring your knees and toes towards one another. Okay. Anchor through the ball of your left foot. And as you inhale, raise your right toes up towards the ceiling as you gaze forward. And as you exhale, tuck your right knee behind your left. Inhale, press up through the ball of your right foot. And then exhale, curl it back behind you. 1 more. Inhale. So it's almost like a tabletop Jiva squat if you've ever done one of those. This time as you exhale, see if you can bring your right knee down behind your left, untuck your toes and swivel your heels wide. Squeeze through your inner thighs, walk your hands forward about a handprint, and see if you can sit back into the space behind your shins or in between your shins. Inhale, press into your palms and glide forward. Exhale, sit back and let your seat hover slightly. 1 more. Inhale. And this time, as you exhale, just sit back slightly and pause. If you would like, you can come all the way up by walking your hands and sitting back. Of course, pad your seat if you need to. So you're in this Gomukhasana shape. Or you can, of course, be in this like child's pose-like position. letting your seat hover. Breathe into your upper back, one more round of breath. And press into your palms. If you're seated, place your palms down, walk them forward, and then come up, uncross your legs, and return to that tabletop position with your knees and toes together. Tuck your toes. Puff up your upper back so that your back stays long, and then inhale, anchor the ball of your right foot. Raise your left toes up. Don't compromise the length of your spine. Exhale, tuck your left knee behind your right. Inhale, press up through the ball of your left foot. Exhale, tuck it behind you. One more. And this time, bring your left knee behind your right. Untuck your toes and swivel your toes and heels wide. Squeeze through your inner thighs. Walk your hands forward a handprint. Inhale here. Exhale, sit back into the space behind you. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lower your seat towards the earth. Most likely it won't touch. One more. And this time you have the opportunity to just let your seat hover or walk your hands back and then come into the seated position with your legs crossed and just stay upright. And breathe here. Walk your hands in front of you. If you're seated, roll over and then untuck your toes. Okay, so if you are on a hardwood surface and you prefer a blanket when you're in a low crescent moon, of course you can grab one. Otherwise, step your right foot forward in between your hands. And as you bend into your right knee, make sure that your knee doesn't go beyond the ankle, okay? So maybe it means kind of wiggling your toes forward. So just breathe here for a moment. Sit your hips down, your pelvis down, and pull your heart forward. And come up onto your finger pads for the moment. Breathe into the front of your left thigh, your psoas. And keep your back toes tucked for the moment. Okay. Press into your right foot. Come out of this shape slightly by bringing your hips back. You're going to take your left toes and you're going to swivel them to the right. They're only going to swivel one direction. If you try to go the opposite, your foot's not going to want to go there. Okay. So swivel your toes behind you. So that's to the right. Bring your right palm against the top of your right thigh and press yourself up. Rotate your torso to the left. And then inhale, bend into your right knee. And then exhale, just pulse up slightly. Do 2 more like that. So it's almost like the shape is a warrior 2 with her back knee down. Do 1 more. Okay. So now keep turning your torso and gaze behind you. And then can you bring your left fingertips down? Gaze forward. Then inhale, sweep your right arm up and overhead. So this looks like a reverse warrior. Stay here, or if you really insist, you can swivel your right heel forward to straighten the leg and all 5 right toes point up. 1 more round of breath. Okay, take your right fingertips, those are the one lifted, and then sweep them towards the left, forward and down. Walk your hands forward, adjust your left foot, bend into your right knee and tuck your right knee underneath you. Okay. And then step your left foot forward in between your hands. And again, swivel your toes forward if that gives you a little bit more space. Come up onto your finger pads and lower your hips and pelvis down. Gaze forward. And if possible, keep your right toes tucked underneath you. Okay. So from here, take your right toes and swivel them to the left behind you. Left palm on the top of your left thigh, and then come up. And I'll face away from you for the moment. And we'll do 3 rounds of this pulsation of bending into the left knee, and then pressing into the left foot and starting to straighten the left leg slightly. Of course, there'll be a slight bend of the knee. So do that 2 more times. And 1 more. Okay. Now gaze behind you and place your right finger pads down. And then gaze forward. And then sweep your left arm up and overhead. And perhaps wiggling your left heel forward, anchoring your heel and flexing through all 5 of your left toes. And sweep your left arm forward and down. And just start to crawl forward. Adjust your right foot and come back into a tabletop shape. Walk your hands forward. Keep your toes tucked and then lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. We'll be in downward facing dog for about 3 rounds of breath. You can pedal your feet, swaying your hips. And breathing into the backs of your legs. On your next inhale, gaze forward between your thumbs. And as you exhale, make your way to the top of your space. Forward fold. Keep your feet about hips width distance apart. Bend your knees, let your belly rest on your thighs, and then hinge forward. And again, use the leverage of pressing your feet down to lift your hips up and lower the crown of your head towards the earth. One more round of breath. Okay. And then from here, release your elbows or whatever you have, and then slowly roll all the way up. And once your torso is vertical, sweep your arms forward and up. And then exhale, bring your palms to touch, bend your knees and pour your weight forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold, plant your palms and step back to a downward facing dog. Just pause here in a downward facing dog for the moment. Make sure that your fingers are spread wide and gaze behind you. And bring your big toes to touch. Anchor your left heel towards the earth. And inhale, sweep your right leg up and overhead. And as you exhale, come up onto the ball of your left foot. Bring your right thigh in towards your belly. And then just start to wave your body forward. Gaze in between your thumbs and step forward. Okay. So we're going to do one of my favorite sequences. So keep your left fingertips down and then inhale, sweep your right arm forward and then back behind you. And as you exhale, sweep it forward. Plant your palms, and then you're going to turn to face the side of your mat and then face away from me. Come into a low lunge on the left. And you guessed it, inhale, sweep your left arm back. And then exhale, come back. Turn to face the front of your mat space. One more time on the right. Inhale, sweep your right arm out. And then exhale, sweep it forward. Okay, now listen carefully. Place both palms down and then lower your back knee down. Come into that low lunge position with the back knee down. Anchor your right fingertips down and then inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead. And then exhale, bring both hands down. And plant your palms, pick up your back knee and gaze forward. Step your right foot back to meet your left for a plank position, top of a push-up. So let's pause here for this first round. Press your heels back and the crown of your head forward. Inhale here. And then exhale, lower onto your belly. And of course, you can always lower your knees as you make your descent. Untuck your toes. Slide your hands to be in line with your chest. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale, Bhujangasana, low cobra. And exhale, lower. And then as you plant your palms, tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your big toes to touch. As you anchor your right heel, inhale, sweep your left leg up and overhead. Same alignment cues apply. Come up onto the ball of your right foot, left thigh in towards your belly. And as you shift your weight forward, gaze forward and step in between your hands, low lunge. And so from here, we're gonna do that same sequence. Left, right, right fingertips down. Inhale, sweep your left arm back behind you. Exhale, plant your hand, turn to face the side of your mat, and then behind you. Low lunge on the right. Inhale, sweep your right arm back. And exhale, bring your hand down. One last time on the left, on your own. And plant your palms and then start to lower your back knee down. Okay, make sure that the thigh is fully rotated down. Bring your left fingertips down. Inhale, sweep your right arm up and overhead. And exhale, bring your palm down. Plant your hands to frame your left foot. Pick up your back knee, low lunge. Inhale, step your left foot back to meet your right for a plank position. Exhale, lower down. Okay, now extend your arms by your sides, so the thumbs face in and the palms up. Untuck your toes. Inhale, anchor the tops of your feet down. Raise your chest and arms up, half Shalambhasana. Exhale, lower. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders and tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your big toes to touch. So I won't go through all of those alignment cues in order to step forward, but just remember them. Anchor your left heel. Inhale, sweep your left leg up. Right leg up. Exhale, step forward. And so we'll do that same thing from the right to the left to the right. Inhale, sweep your right arm back behind you. Exhale, as you sweep it back, turn your toes. And just start to enjoy the poetry of the body as we move from one side to the other. And return back to the right and sweep your right arm back behind you. Exhale, plant your palm and then lower your back knee down. Right fingertips stay down. Inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead. And this time, as you plant your left palm down, start to shift your hips back slightly. Scoop your belly in and place your right palm against the top of your right thigh, and then twist over to the right, almost like a twisted lizard shape. Soften your right shoulder and roll it back as you gaze behind you. One more round of breath. If you'd like, you can even roll onto the pinky side edge of the right foot and turn the toes out. Okay, and then from here, come onto the sole of the right foot, plant your palms. Pick up your back knee. Step your right foot back to meet your left, and then exhale, lower down. Untuck your toes. Inhale, Bhujangasana, low cobra. Roll your shoulders back and gaze forward. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your big toes to touch. Inhale, left heel up and overhead. Exhale, step forward. Then you know this pattern now, going to the left as you inhale. And exhale, planting your palm, turning towards the side of your mat space, and then turning away from me. Inhale to the right. And exhale, slowly return to the front of your mat space. One more time on the left. Plant your palms, lower your back knee down. Left fingertips stay down. Sweep your right arm up and overhead as you inhale. And exhale, plant your right palm to the inside edge of your right foot. Scoop your belly in, left palm on the top of your left thigh, and then twist over to the left. And I like to keep my back toes tucked just so I don't go too far into this shape. And if you like, you can roll onto the pinky edge of your left foot, turning the toes out slightly. Roll onto the bottom of your left foot, plant your palms. Pick up your back knee. Step your left foot back to meet your right for a plank position. Exhale, lower down. Untuck your toes, slide your hands back with the palms face up. Inhale, raise your chest and arms up. And this time as you exhale, slide your hands forward, stack your palms underneath your forehead for a pranam. And if it's more comfortable, you can do the full expression of this prostration by bringing your palms together and sliding your fingers forward and letting your forehead touch the earth. This full body bow. Just breathe here and start to cool the body down momentarily. We have one more round of that flow. Hopefully you're warmer now. So pick up your forehead and you can come into one of my favorite positions, which is just kind of cupping underneath your head and grabbing a sip of water if you like. I just want to show you the last iteration of this flow and what this looks like. Because once you're in it, it's a little bit more difficult to see. So you have the option of doing the exact same thing, okay? Or if you'd like, you can roll on to the outside edges of your feet and doing this lounging lizard shape, okay? And then doing the same thing. It's the same pattern. So if you choose to roll onto the outside edges of your feet, it'll be the same as if you don't, okay? And here, we'll continue that same pattern, this twisted lizard. Now from here, you're gonna have the opportunity to either walk your right foot to the right, coming into a lower shape of lizard, or walking your right foot to the left, coming onto the outside edge of your shin, and you'll be in this pigeon shape, okay? I traditionally don't like to just shove you into pigeon, but it's there for you if you'd like it to be. Okay, and so let's make our way to downward facing dog. Bring your big toes to touch. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and overhead. Exhale, step forward. Okay. So you choose in this moment, as you inhale, sweeping your right arm, what you'd like to do with your feet. And then exhale, crawl to the back of your mat. And then again, you choose as you sweep your left arm. And we'll all meet towards the front of our mat space. One more round on the right. And then from here, lower your back knee down. Right fingertips stay down. Inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead. And then exhale, pause. Left palm comes down. Scoop your belly and then twist. And turn your torso down, plant your palms. Okay, so I'd like you to choose here whether you come into a lizard shape, walking the foot wide, and you can always stay upright or coming onto your forearms, or coming into this pigeon shape. So wherever you are, you'll be here for about 5 rounds of breath, okay? You're doing great. We have one more side to go. So take your time as you press into your palms. Make your way to downward facing dog. So that's going to look different whether you're in pigeon or if you're in this lizard shape. So just slowly step your right foot back to meet your left, downward facing dog. And so one side to go. Inhale, sweep your left leg up. And exhale, step forward. Just allow yourself to flow through the poetry of your body, sweeping your left arm back. And then exhale, making your way to the right. And again, you choose whether you roll onto the outside edges of your feet or not. One more time on the left. And place both palms down, turn your toes forward and lower your back knee down. Inhale, sweep your right arm up and overhead. And exhale, plant your right palm, left palm on the top of your left thigh, and then twist. Then turn forward, and then you choose if you'd like to come into this lizard shape by walking your left foot to the left, untucking the toes, or coming into a pigeon shape by walking your left foot to the right. So you choose, you know your body best and where you'd like to go to open your hips up. Be here for about 3 more rounds of breath. And slide your palms underneath you. And then same thing applies. We're going to make our way to downward facing dog. And there's not the most graceful way to do it. And it's going to differ whether you're in pigeon or lizard. So let's just make our way to downward facing dog in the most expedient way we can. And once you're in downward facing dog, inhale, wave your body forward to a plank position. And then exhale, lower onto your belly. Untuck your toes, and then either stack your palms under your forehead or slide your palms forward. And now you can really start to cool your body down. Breathe into your back body. Wherever your forehead is, whether it's on the earth or against your palms, just start to slowly rock your head from side to side. Most of you know this. I've said this many times, but this expression, this prostration, has existed for thousands of years. We think of this as one of the first expressions of a sun salutation. It's full body bow. Okay, so pick up your forehead. You're going to stay on your belly, but slide your elbows underneath you. So we're going to start in a Sphinx position. So elbows underneath the shoulders and extend your arms forward. But you'll swivel your left hand to the inside of your right wrist. Press into your palm and scoop your belly in slightly. And then pull your right heel in towards you. Reach around for your foot. So you've got a couple of options. You can just grab a hold of your ankle. You can swivel your hand so the fingers face down, or swivel your hand so that your toes and your fingers face in the same direction. Roll your right shoulder back. And then breathe here. And feel as though you are pulling your knee away from you as you are bringing your heel in. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. Release your right foot without flinging it. Extend your arms forward and then just move to the other side. Right hand to the inside edge of the left wrist. Left heel in and then reach back for the foot. So you choose whichever variation you would like. Just make sure that you're not doing it with force. And release your left foot. And bring the tops of your feet towards the earth. So we're gonna do one more iteration of this back bend. So bring your chin towards the earth and slide your hands back. And we'll do 3 rounds of a Shalambasan. You have the option as you inhale, just to lift your toes, your chest and your arms up. And then exhale, lower. You can do 2 more like that, or if you would like, you can bend your knees. Reach for the outsides of your feet. And as you press into your pelvis, inhale, raise your body up. And then exhale, lower. One more round, whatever variation you'd like. Release your feet. And then roll onto your back. So let's begin in a constructive rest position, as I like to call a lunar bridge, by bringing our feet wide and our knees together. Place your hands at your low belly. Just breathe into your hands here. Just slowly walk your feet towards one another and in slightly. So your feet are together, but knees still bent. And cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. And press your right palm into the inside of your right thigh and push your knee away from you. Okay. Now take your left hand and reach for your right ankle. Left hand, right ankle. And it might require scooting your heel in slightly so you can reach it. Okay. And so now that you have a hold of your right ankle, start to roll onto your left hip. Left hip. So the right foot can come down. And then now keep pushing your right knee away from you. And then roll your right shoulder back for this lateral hip stretch. So it looks like you're in a supine figure 4 that just kind of turned on its side. And so breathe into the outside of your right hip. Create space. Relax your glutes. You can use the leverage of pressing your right foot down to push your right knee away from you. So you can release the top of your right ankle and slowly roll onto your back. Then uncross your ankle. Place both feet down. So let's do that on the other side. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Flex your toes. And push your left knee away from you. So we create space along the front of the hip. Take your right hand and wrap it around the front of your left ankle. And of course, adjust if you need a little bit more room. And then slowly roll on to your right hip. Again, turning your figure four on its side. Once your left foot comes down, keep pushing your left thigh and knee away from you, and then roll your left shoulder back. So take your time, release your ankle, and roll onto your back. Place both feet down. Use the strength of your low belly and gather your thighs in. Wrap your hands around your shins. Anchor your low back down. You can keep your thighs together, or if you like, you can separate your knees towards your armpits. Maybe reach for your feet for happy baby. You choose in this moment. Release your feet and bring your knees together. And as you press your low back down, peel the back of your head up. Bring your nose towards your kneecaps and curl in. Take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, release your legs and your arms out for Shavasana. Situate yourself so that your shoulders are away from your earlobes. You can experiment by flipping your palms up or down, or perhaps placing them on your body. And return to that state of tracking your breath, but keeping your body still. And just note the beginning, middle, and end of your inhale. Beginning, middle, and end of your exhale. If it helps, you can keep that mental notation as you allow yourself to drift into this space of total relaxation. And I'll call you back momentarily. so you can keep your body relaxed and your eyes closed. Just notice the surging flow of breath as it pours into your chest and belly. Breathe into your fingertips and toes and let them wiggle in space. Spread your arms up and overhead. Gather your knees in towards your chest and roll to one side. Press your palms up here and come up to sitting. And once you're seated, swivel your hands on top of your heart in Swabhava Mudra, the thumbs hooked. And breathe into the base of your hands. And as we bow our head towards our heart, we honor one another. And when you're ready, lift your gaze.